Hello, hello. It is day 301 of my 365-day raw suspending disbelief journey. I am actually on the correct day now. And just updating, this was a holiday Monday, so the kids were still all home today. And it was not just like a full-on work day or a full-on catch-up day. And I don't expect one of those really anytime soon because I have no updates as far as how long it will be before my little one goes back to school. So it has now been, I think, over a month. Although my dates are really screwy in my head still because the last couple of weeks was so rough. But I don't anticipate life getting back to completely normal in that sense for quite a while. I started looking into her possibly attending a preschool program that they have outside of the school here in town. And looking at that, I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like, it's 3 days a week. It would give me a couple of hours on each of those days. And it's, um, there's more monthly fees and everything that I would be paying on top of the school fees that I've already paid for the one school. And then there's, um, the possibility that she starts there and then we get a notice that, oh, hey, they're back to work. And then I've paid these fees for nothing. And, um, or for like only a day or two, and then her having to adjust to a new space and then get pulled out of there again. And it's just a lot. So, when I started thinking about it, it didn't feel right. It was like, I could do it financially. I could make it happen. And the time, even just a few days a week to have a few hours would be awesome. But, it just doesn't feel like it's worth the trouble that I would have to go to for it, the upheaval for her to learn a new space and new people and all of that, and then be pulled out again, and then go back to try to get back into her routine at the other school, and it's just it's a lot. So uh, I decided, and this was actually a few days earlier than, like, this wasn't today that I did this, but I decided, I was like, I am going to just make her a schedule that she can do at home that will give her a little bit more structure and routine. Because when she first was off, I was like, well, whatever, it might be a few days, might be a week, might be like, I don't know, but she's just off. Like, she can just be off school. She's in pre-K. She doesn't need to be, I don't need to worry about structure or learning or, any of those things too much. But with how long it's been and the first couple of weeks, I sort of just let things slide because I was hoping it wasn't going to be too much longer. And then the second couple of weeks, I was so sick that I couldn't do much more for her than just let things slide. Um, so I was like, okay, well, that's enough. Like, it's been long enough. We're getting to the point of where her structure is completely gone. So then she's so much more needy. She is all over the place, just making more messes. She's jumping from activity to activity. She's less focused, less calm, less pleasant, like more tantrums happening, all of these things. And I was like, hey, enough. We're going to make a structure and a schedule here. So I love making schedules. I love making like plans and structures and things like that. This is my genius zone. I love it. I'm so good at this, right? So every time I do it, I'm always like, oh, it feels amazing. And so we did that, and I made her a little chart, drew it all out, drew pictures for each of the tasks so she knew what they said, right? Because she's 4, she doesn't read it yet, and um, put approximate time limits with each of them because she really loves using her timer and knowing what to expect. And so she had like this little visual timer that she can just turn the knob, match the number to the number that's on her paper, and then she knows how long she's supposed to be doing this task for. So then she's not jumping from one thing to another every 3 to 5 minutes, right? And it gives me at least like a 10 to 15 minute window where she's concentrated on one thing and I can accomplish something, at least something, even if it's just a small thing, and before she needs me again to help her transition to a new task. So So that made a big difference, and it's lots of fun, and the visual and the being able to put her little check marks on and whatnot when she's done. And she doesn't even need to ask me what her next task is. She just moves on to the next one. And actually, it was instant that as soon as this was set up for her, she started functioning so much better. She was cleaning up after herself after each activity because she knows that she's supposed to do that. But because she wasn't jumping from task to task so quickly, it wasn't becoming this like big disaster of things that she had left behind. And so she was able to manage it better suddenly. She just was, automatically cleaning up after herself and as best as she could, of course. She's 4, but she was picking up her toys. She was, dumping her paint water, things like that. So it instantly made things so much better and such a relief. And then um I decided, well, like especially over the last couple of weeks with me being so lax, I have been allowing a lot of screen time for all the kids. And Jace, my son, he especially can really get sucked in on the screens and just want to be on there the whole time. Casey will watch but play at the same time with toys or something, but he just gets sucked in. And when he's on there too long, he's miserable. Um, so I was like, okay, well, I've made this one for her. I'll make one for him for after school so that it's like, okay, these are the things you need to do, because it was becoming a fight where I needed to say, like, go and do this thing. And then I'd need to remind him 5 times and I would need to nag him, and it was driving me crazy. So I laid it all out, set it up the same way for him, and he enjoyed following along and using the check marks and just doing the things that he was supposed to be doing. And he knows exactly what he needs to do next, and I don't have to stay on top of it. Huge relief, right? So just taking when I get to the point where I feel overloaded, where I feel like I've got all the responsibility of the world on my shoulders and nobody is supporting me through that. So, normally my kids would be listening better. Normally my kids would be helping out more. All of these things. It was just like, our lives went to hell in a handbasket in the last couple of weeks. And so it's a way for me to hand off the responsibility without overwhelming my kids and take some of the weight off of my own shoulders so that then I can be like, okay, now what's the next priority? And each time as I go, I made the thing for Casey and a weight lifted, and then I made the thing for Jace and then a weight lifted. And then Cadence saw them and she was like, well, I want one. So I made one for her and then a weight lifted, right? And it kept on um, this is just what I do. And so then I go, okay, now the kids are taken care of. Now it's like, okay, what am I going to prioritize for me, for my business, for my health, for the house, all of these things. And automatically now, these days, my mind goes to, well, what can I get rid of? Like, what does not actually need to be done off of my to-do list so that I can not feel so overwhelmed? How can I simplify? Right? And then it goes to, what can I automate? What can I do once and it will be set and I won't have to touch it again, so that that's a task off my list forever and not just something that is having to be done again and again every single day. So then I try to spend a bigger percentage of my time on those tasks to get them completely done and out of the way. And then I, prioritize as much as I can for, especially when I've just been sick, for my health, for my rest, for our diet, for all of those kinds of things. So we spent a little bit of time on um bought some core groceries, and then spent a little bit of time on some food prep and some meal planning and stuff like that, so that we had that sorted out. And I um I automated one more thing that should have been running, um didn't need to have my hands in it while I was sick, but because I hadn't had it automated, um, it didn't run. And so I got that set up. And then I kept going through the list in this way. And this is just what I do now. It's like simplify, automate, simplify, automate. And where can I make it so that I'm, from the outside, it looks like I'm taking leaps and bounds, like I'm getting so much done. And, um, from the inside, it's not that I'm not getting so much done. It's just that I am only getting the really high priority things done and the most important things done. And I am really being conscious and aware of not needing to do some of the little tasks that I sometimes do when I have more time. So, um, yeah, that is a lot of what today was. Today was like try to spend a little bit of time with them. I read stories with them. I helped Casey do her, quote unquote schoolwork because she likes to practice her writing and things like that. And um it was just sort of a mixed bag. Uh and yet it feels like, yes, I got really far ahead in my to-do list as far as like the the way that I think a lot of people would have gotten in their to-do list. It would have been like, I'm nowhere near the end, right? And it would just be this big like, how am I ever going to catch up? And instead it's just like really getting super honest with myself. Do I really need to do this? Do I really have to? Am I being fully honest with myself? Or is this just a task that I'm used to doing and can let go of? And that may be a temporary let go, that may be a permanent let go. When there are times when I start looking at these things and I realize, wow, I've been doing something that I really don't need to be doing. So I take a really close look at it. I get really honest with myself, and then I also start focusing on the I don't know, you could call them like a power task where it's like that one is going to have the most impact in the least amount of time. That is going to be the most effective, get me the farthest, accomplish the biggest portion, whatever. Um, anyway, so I just followed what I know and I stuck to that, and I feel really good about the progress that was made. Am I near the end of my list? Not really, but I'm like, you know, I'm I'm at a functional point already on day one of like actually trying to work today, combined with having kids home. So as much as you can work with having kids home. So yeah, so that's um, the combination of suspending disbelief for the times that I need to stop, that it will all be good, that I'm exactly where I need to be, that my success is here. My success is, more success is still coming, and my success is here, and all is well, basically. And then when it gets to a point of not needing to suspend disbelief anymore, taking the actions that I know work that will make the changes and get me back on track and get me back into my routines and get my kids back into their routines, because you think like if it's hard to get yourself into a routine, it is even harder to get your kids into a routine. So um it's always a matter of, with that, getting them into their routines sort of alongside me getting back into my own routines. And trying to juggle that takes a little bit longer than trying to just get back into good habits for yourself. But it's um it is one of the areas that I shine in, that I thrive in, right? So I just find it's like this switch goes off from, okay, I'm suspending disbelief right now, I'm letting go, I'm trusting, to it's fine. It's all fine. And everything is going well. And and then I can just start taking the steps that I know to take. So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling now. I am getting more like the brain fog and the exhaustion creeping in again. So I feel like, okay, it's time to be done. And that's what I have for you guys today. So I will talk to you all tomorrow.